Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, founder and owner of Dream Vision 7 radio network. If you're joining us for the first time, we are a Boston-based holistic internet radio station with all the bells and whistles. You can listen to us in any country that you may be. You can be in a car and hear the shows, be on Alexa, on your mobile devices, anywhere. And we are proud to be the partner for the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. And they are opening in July and welcoming everyone. And because of our partnership, you'll hear certain commercials, ads that will promote 20% off. So all you have to do is say Dream 7, and you get 20% off. Okay, well, we have an excellent guest with us today, Cilla Whatcott. She is a prominent voice in the world of homeoprophylaxis for immune support, deep healing, and transformation. She holds a Ph.D., and she's also board certified in homeopathy. And she's going to be telling us all about the difference between HP and homeopathy. And I have a number of questions for her. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Cilla.
Thank you, Deborah, for having me here.
Yeah, so to get right into it, you're welcome. To get right into it, what is the difference, and what is also, there's some, some thoughts around that from other doctors, a bit controversial, so please share.
Sure. So homeopathy itself is a full system of healing that's been around for about 200 years. And it's an energetic form of medicine, so it's completely safe, never been any injuries from it. And it encourages the vital force to heal the individual. So it's not manipulating any physiological system. It's simply providing energetic signals to the individual so that they promote the healing on their own. And it utilizes different things in nature, animal, mineral, or vegetable substances that are highly diluted. So they're very, very safe. That's homeopathy. Homeoprophylaxis is a subset of homeopathy, and it's basically providing different no-sodes or remedies to familiarize the individual with a disease prior to encountering it in nature. So a no-sode is made from disease products, either a discharge or tissue, and from someone who has the disease. So I'll give you an example. During the late 1700s, Samuel Hahnemann, who is the father of homeopathy, found that during a scarlet fever epidemic, the use of homeopathic belladonna was preventing cases of scarlet fever. So it was the first application of homeoprophylaxis where he gave belladonna to families and they were protected from scarlet fever. So it then became an edict that everyone would take it prophylactically in that area of the world. It was Prussia at the time. And since then, there have been other examples of homeoprophylaxis for tropical diseases, dengue fever, malaria, chikungunya, also for childhood diseases or for cases of epidemics like the Spanish flu. It was very successful, and the current virus that's going around. As far as individuals perceptions of it. It's virtually unknown in the U.S. There are many families that are gaining information and actively jumping on board with homeoprophylaxis since I've been working with it about 2009, trying to really popularize it in the United States. Homeopaths are familiar with it. Homeopaths, some understand it and actually utilize it. Others are a little more classical and don't utilize it. But my goal has been teaching medical professionals, so MDs, DOs, naturopaths, midwives, those types of medical professionals, so that they could start to understand it and utilize it with their client base.
What is the concern that they have with HP?
For homeopaths, the concern mostly is that it's not fully classical, because the classical theory says you wait till someone gets sick and then you treat them. So they're a little dubious about giving a homeopathic remedy prior to encountering a disease. But the reality is not everyone's strong enough to withstand a disease, so it makes sense to be able to fortify people beforehand. And also those homeopaths who doggedly adhere to just classical homeopathy, they don't understand the history, and they don't understand how effective it's been, because in the country of India, it's utilized by their government doctors. So they hand out homeoprophylaxis free of charge to their citizens to protect from diseases very effectively. Yeah.
And this is in India. Any other countries?
Cuba uses it quite a bit. They have a study with leptospirosis. They've used it for dengue fever, for hepatitis, for pneumonia, meningitis. Brazil has used it quite a bit. So the landmark study with children was done in Australia over 15 years by Dr. Isaac Golden.
It makes sense with India and maybe some of the Asian countries, because they're more open, and really thousands of years ago from there came energy medicine and Qigong and all of that.
Right.
So you can understand why they would embrace it. But now, is it just for viruses and diseases of that sort, that, like, say that someone comes to you and they have a genetic issue, maybe it's the parent that does, and now they have a child and they want to prevent that child from having the same kind of thing. Does it, if it's energy medicine in a sense, then it would work for that too, wouldn't it?
Well, because it works with the vital force and strengthens your own robust God-given immunity, it definitely helps to satisfy any susceptibility you have to certain things. So we back up. Epigenetics tells us that we might have genetic tendencies. Our parent had something, as you mentioned. Yet the way that we live is going to impact whether or not we succumb to those genetic susceptibilities. So our diet, our exercise, our exposure to toxins.
Environment.
So homeopathy, exactly. Homeopathy is one more thing added into the environment that can help fortify an individual and make their natural immunity more robust. So they're going to be less susceptible to succumbing to whatever that genetic anomaly is. Now, let's take a situation where someone has a genetic anomaly, let's say Down syndrome. So each genetic anomaly carries with it certain susceptibilities. With Down syndrome, it's cardiac issues, respiratory issues that can become very problematic. So with homeopathy, you're not going to necessarily change the genetic issue, but you fortify the individual so that those susceptibilities become much less. So these children are not suffering from the same degree of cardiac or respiratory issues, which, can be very helpful.
Yes, I can see that, how there could, it would soften a lot of the, the disability, really. Right.
It fortifies them. So they're more robust, so they're not going to fall ill with these different conditions that they're most susceptible to due to their genetic anomaly.
Right. Now, have you worked with kids and adults that have like a peanut allergy and it fortifies or actually eliminates the allergy?
I've worked with individuals with different food sensitivities or allergies, some that literally go into anaphylactic shock, quite successfully. It depends on the individual, so you can never predict. But we know that many of the vaccines have excipients in them that cause an undifferentiated inflammatory response in the body, so that cases of food allergies, sensitivities, all sorts of allergies, hay fever, asthma, have become epidemic. And as a result of these adjuvants that are in vaccines. So sometimes it requires clearing some of that, other times just fortifying the individual. So each case is highly unique, and I might have 10 individuals with the same quote-unquote diagnosis, but they're going to get 10 different remedies and 10 different methods of healing to reverse their problem.
And how do you work with them? Would it be much like, and because you're an energy practitioner, to really talk with them and get a full understanding of not only their lifestyle but the emotional piece? We're learning, every day that every adult can be carrying trauma and different things from their childhood or even from distant relatives, or even through the ethers, as one would say.
That's correct, Deborah. They can carry trauma from generations back. And the case taking for homeopathy involves careful understanding of everything about that individual: likes, dislikes, tendencies, symptoms, history, everything. I need to understand what it's like to be that individual, so I'm trying to understand their state, their inner state, which includes subconscious, it includes compensations, it includes passive and active reactions that they have to things. So it's all done through talking, and this is what we spend 4 years learning how to do, how to take a case, and there are different styles or methods of case taking as well. So I'm going to choose a style or a method that most effectively suits the individual in front of me, because people are all different. So it's really about building trust in the relationship, understanding what it's like to be that person, and then matching something from nature that would cause many of those symptoms if the person were to take it in material form. So that's really the heart and soul of classical homeopathy treatment.
So tell us, Cilla, how did you get so involved in this? I mean, was it through your children? Was it an experience you had? How did you get so involved and become, a prominent voice, really educating people on what this is all about?
Well, I can honestly say my children brought me to this, and they've been adopted from China, Russia, Taiwan. I had one biological child. They all had asthma, kidney reflux, ADHD, migraine headaches, lots of things. And I brought my son to a pediatrician who actually said, "You should try homeopathy for his asthma." I knew nothing about it. This was back in 1999, 2000. And I did some reading, found out there was a well-known homeopath right in my backyard, took my son. His asthma was gone within 6 months. My daughter's kidney reflux, totally gone. I was shocked. I was amazed. And migraines, I saw all this before my eyes, so I then went myself, and at the time decided I would go back to school. My late 40s, went back to school for 4 years of homeopathic medical school, and felt like I was home. I never looked back. My children never had another antibiotic after starting homeopathy, and it changed my worldview on quite a deep level and really opened up the world of energy for me.
Wow. And so with working, because I know it's the little pellets, right, that you put under your tongue, with working with kids, and probably easier with kids than adults that have maybe had migraines for, a decade or more, and because I believe that there's an emotional piece to just about any illness, or should I say disease. So, do you find people coming back, 2 years later with the same issue?
So if I understand your question correctly, people will come with an initial complaint. Sometimes it's emotional, maybe it's grief, maybe it's physical, maybe it's bedwetting, maybe it's arthritis, maybe it's something chronic, all different things. Frequently I get cases where they've been through all the tests, the doctors have said there's nothing wrong with you, but they know something's wrong, something's just not right, or they have some very odd symptom that can't be explained, and those are ideal cases for homeopathy. So we'll work together, and I tell people, give it 6 months. We do an initial intake. We wait about a month. I send out the one remedy, and they usually take it 1 or 2 times. That's it. And then it starts the process within their own system. They come back for a follow-up a month later, and we take a look at what's gone on. And because people are so accustomed to allopathic pharmaceutical medication that you have a headache, you take a pill, it's gone in 20 minutes, They come back and they may say, I still have headaches. So I'll say, okay, are they still 7 days a week like they were? Well, they're just 3 times a week. Are they still lasting 6 hours? Well, they only last an hour. Are they still a 10 on the pain scale? Well, they're probably a 5. So that says to me, your vital force is starting to change this. We're getting somewhere. It's a slow process because we've decreased intensity, frequency, all of the characteristics around it. So that's what we're looking for, and I tell people, give it 6 months. We'll do 3 or 4 follow-ups in those 6 months, and we'll see what's happening. So with each remedy, the vital force expresses itself, and based on what it's saying, that tells me the next step. So I can't predict ahead of time, but if you come back and tell me my headaches are better, but now my arthritis is flaring up, that's telling me something, and I'm changing the prescription as a result. So each case is highly individualized, and after 6 months, I tell people you'll see changes after 6 months. Very, very rarely, I'd say maybe 5% of people don't see changes within 6 months. Many, it's completely alleviated their chief complaint. After that, they tend to come back when they need something. So, something will happen in their life, an incident or an illness or an acute illness. They'll come back to me, we'll deal with it, and on we go. So I usually, kind of establish a long-term relationship with people, but they're not coming in to see me constantly. It's intense in the first little while, and then after that it's as needed.
Yeah. Do you think that people need to have a better understanding of what is happening when they're taking your prescriptions for it to work, or do you find because it's energy, it doesn't matter whether they buy into it or not?
It's not about faith. They don't have to believe it. It's going to work because it works with animals and infants, so they don't know anything about it. But what I find is that I'm big on the educational piece. So I want people to understand the difference between, conventional medicine and this type of medicine. I want them to understand why I've chosen the remedy I have for them. When I start connecting the dots and they realize that I was listening and that I see them, it's very healing. That's part of the process of healing, having someone really listening. So I do a lot of explanation in regard to, teaching and helping someone see how we're connecting the dots in their case.
Right, right.
Yeah, frequently
Go right ahead.
Frequently their chief complaint will connect to other things in their life. Let's say they have arthritis, and I'll go into questions about the pain, and they'll express that the pain is angry or sharp or cutting, and I'll come to find that they had an experience in childhood where they felt someone was angry and sharp and cutting to them, or they dropped out of school because the teacher was angry, or, I'll see a repeating pattern in their life, and it's nothing they've put together until we start digging into all the life patterns, and that's the energy, because emotions are energy, right?
Right.
That's the energy that precipitated some physical decline, and then we start to see the physical manifestation of that.
Right. Very good. Well, we are coming up on a break, everyone. If you'd like to get in touch with Cilla, her website is realimmunity.org, just as it sounds, realimmunity.org. She also has another one. Did you want to have that out, the Family Homeopathy?
Family Homeopathy. Correct. But the two sites link. So if you go to realimmunity.org, you can click and you can link over to Family Homeopathy.
Okay, very good. All right, everyone, don't go away. This is it's exciting. It's here to heal, which we're all looking for, especially those of us who are very sensitive to pharmaceuticals. We need other answers to heal, mind, body, spirit. So listen up, and we'll be back in a moment.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first-grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowdfunded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Experience meditations intended to guide you deeper into the core of your being at Awakening Meditations, a weekend workshop with Rick Weinman. Rick has been a vehicle for accelerating spiritual evolution for almost 20 years, utilizing the divine energy and consciousness within the Vortex Healing lineage. Join him to create a space for true transformation to enter your life. Mention discount code DREAM for 20% off when you register for Rick Weinman's Awakening Meditations Workshop, July 30th to August 1st at Omega in Rhinebeck, New York. Learn more at eomega.org.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back. You're listening to the Love by Intuition show. You can hear it Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Most times on Tuesdays at 6, we're live. And check us out because if you're an author, you'll want to check out the Dream Visions, all one word with an S on the end, the number 7, radio.com. We do all kinds of things for authors. We have drawings. We have all kinds of giveaways. So check us out. And we're with Cilla Whatcott. She is describing what the difference is with HP as well as homeopathy and all the different variables that come under it. And one of the things that she strives with, not only the energy piece, but nutrition, which I think is key too, especially with the quality of food we have. I mean, you can do it organic, but again, even with that, you don't know if there's traces of glyphosates and different things of that sort that have been in the food in this country since, I think, the 40s? And it's all about greed. So Cilla, how much in depth do you get into nutrition with your clients?
Well, Deborah, it's outside my scope of practice because my specialty really is homeopathy, but just through talking with clients, my own experience, I've gleaned a bunch of different information about nutrition, and it's really the basis for our health. And I've seen cases where people turn their health around simply with better nutrition. So it's pretty amazing, but it's also one of the hardest things you can't control. You really
right.
can't say to someone, you have to do it's like being a parent of a child. You can't control eating, sleeping, and pooping, right? They're in charge of those 3 functions, but
right.
you can do your best to offer
right.
the proper environment, let's say, and the proper habits, and model the proper habits. So I
Absolutely.
never dictate anything to anyone, but I'll ask questions, and I find that people that come to me are already on board with good nutrition typically. I mean, it's just, it's part of the path. So
right.
That's typically what I see. Occasionally there'll be cases where, there are infractions in their nutrition and they're just not aware of them, and a little education goes a long way. But I don't do supplements. I mean, I don't sell supplements, promote supplements. I have recommendations if people ask, simply from clinical experience and knowing what other people have gotten benefits from, but that's about the extent of my interface with nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how has the pandemic changed your work? Has it been busier? Do you have more people coming with stress? Is it mostly family with kids? What's happening for you?
Yeah, so much busier. It's just blown up. I've treated quite a few people with COVID, and very successfully. As long as people start homeopathic treatment quickly, they sail right through it. I've had no problems working with people with COVID. If they wait and it's months after they've gotten it and they're still having symptoms, it's a little trickier, it's a little deeper, but I've still had good success with those individuals. I came up with a product for prevention early on. It was, early in 2020. And that's gone very, very well. I'm careful on my website. I don't use certain words. The product that I have is called Influenzinum CV. And I actually did a survey with over 500 people taking it that were very happy with the results. So that can be seen on the realimmunity.org site.
Wow. Now, is this so it's a preventative, so people are coming
correct.
to you that want to prevent having a really bad
case. Yeah, it's to protect them. It's to boost their natural immunity. So
yeah. Now, so is it on the homeopathy end of things, or is it a tincture, or?
It's a homeopathic preparation. It's on the products page called Influenzinum CV. It's taken 1 to 4 times a month, depending on your exposure. If you're not exposed to people, once a month is sufficient. If you're out and about, involved with people, you can take it up to weekly. I take it when I fly. I take it when I'm going to be in groups of people in public. Very, very effective. The other products that are there are for those who are concerned about the incidence of shedding. For people who have recently been vaccinated and then they're around people who have not been vaccinated, I'm finding my clients who have not been vaccinated are experiencing bleeding abnormalities, bloody noses, bleeding gums, irregular menses, headaches, vomiting, vertigo. Yes, they're experiencing some pretty intense symptoms. They've called it shedding. I call it transmission more than shedding. So I have 2 products on the site that address that on an energetic level. One is called
Let's go back for a second, so if I may interject. So people that are not vaccinated, that are around people that have been vaccinated, the people that are not vaccinated are having these symptoms. Am I following you correctly?
Correct. And it's really dependent on their general health. So if their health's already compromised and they have some susceptibilities, they're more prone to having these symptoms. So, and I'm not talking about casual exposure, the grocery store, passing on the street. I'm talking about living with people, sharing
and
body
family.
fluids. Yeah, these are the people who are more susceptible, and these are the cases I've seen.
Wow, fascinating. So how do you?
So I have a couple.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple blogs on the site addressing it. The products are environmental essence, environmental protection essence, or SRM, that stands for Suramin. And these are both homeopathic products. One of them is a flower tincture. The other one is a purely homeopathic pellet that's taken. And on those product pages are blogs that explain them. So all the information's there. And, people have been asking me for months what they can do because they've been feeling effects from being around people. And I did a lot of research, talked to colleagues, really meditated on this and came up with these 2 products that I felt would be helpful.
Wow. Gee, I have not heard anything of that sort, so this is eye-opening. So I wanted to ask you, with the pellets and then with the tincture, is the tincture first, to ask that, is that in a alcohol base? And are the pellets have lactose?
Yes, the tincture is in an alcohol base, very mild. You can hardly smell it.
Yeah.
And you put the tincture in water. You can do it directly under the tongue. There's like 5 ways to administer. In water, under the tongue, in a bath, in a spray, in a cream or an oil for a topical application. And all those directions come with it.
Okay, so it's in a cream as well.
It's a 1 ounce liquid bottle, but it can be added to a cream or oil.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 5 different ways to apply. You can put it in water and a spray bottle and spray it in the environment. You can put it in a bathtub, but these are liquid drops that you'd be using. And then the pellets, the suramin, those are pellets. And the directions also come with that, and that's indicated that you should put the pellets in like a half cup of water, stir, take a spoon of the water per day, and dose it for 5 days in a row, and then take a break.
Okay. Okay. And again, all of this is on the realimmunity.org.
Those are available there, and then the instructions come with them when delivered. Right.
So do you, I imagine, I know what the answer is, but just for the listeners, with the, I'm assuming that you're a believer of if we take care of our bodies and we build our immunity and vitamin D, and there's so many other things that are really excellent to build our systems, and many of the, like we have, radio hosts, they're MDs that are now NDs, and so they feel as though if you build your system strong enough, then you're not apt to get the COVID, or if you do, it's very mild. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, I agree that your terrain or your basic health is at the foundation. So what you've done is reduce your own susceptibilities. But if you're diabetic or obese or have a poor diet or not sleeping or under stress, you've increased your susceptibility to catching anything, basically. Exactly. So that foundational nutritional status is absolutely critical. And vitamin D, especially people living in northern latitudes, absolutely need more vitamin D. All of those things are really essential. Yeah, I agree.
Right. And you know what, I would like to think one day that will open up with media talking about these things as daily input, supplements, things of that. So, I mean, you have to do your research to identify supplements that are real, that don't have 45 fillers. But the thing is just that alone, educating oneself. I mean, you have to do a lot of research to heal the body, to make everyone do everything, like you said earlier. You do everything you can for the kids and the family, and then hope for the best. But from what we can see, there's always going to be something devastating that happens. Who's to say there will be another pandemic in our lifetime? You never know.
Right. Well, currently, Deborah, people can learn from broadcasts like yours. But as far as mainstream media, we know that 80% of all advertising is paid for by pharmaceutical companies. So they're not going to be promoting natural methods. It's just not going to happen. It's up to independent reporters like yourself who are going to be actually giving this kind of accurate information, which is why I do these podcasts, which is why I always listen to alternative news. It's so important because those people who are only listening to mainstream media are hearing a scripted piece of information that's the same wherever you go, and it's going to direct you towards the pharmaceutical solution.
Right. That's it. And then on the food end of things, anyone in this day and age that says, even the MDs, if they say that we get our nutrition, enough in nutrition and vitamins and minerals from our food, it's not true today. It's, it's the soil, everything. Yeah. So anyway, we have a break. So everyone stay with us more with Cilla Whatcott when we come back.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Join world-renowned tarot card readers at Omega Institute this July for Masters of the Tarot, Finding Meaning in the Cards. Mary Kay Greer, Rachel Pollack, and other professional tarot readers share proven methods to give effective readings that transform lives, yours as well as your clients'. To receive 20% off, mention discount code DREAM when you register for Masters of the Tarot at Omega in Rhinebeck, New York, July 23rd to 25th. Learn more at eomega.org.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
Motherhood is not easy. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world. Yet mothers receive so little support, even in spiritual communities where motherhood is often more valued.
What if you could always feel capable of handling the rigors and demands of being a mother in today's world?
What if you could let go of feeling like you're alone and don't have support?
What if you could let go of your fears that you're going to get it all wrong, make a mistake, or raise your child that repeats all the mistakes that you've experienced?
Experience the mothering movement and open your heart to mothering and being mothered in a way that allows acceptance, forgiveness, and vision for the future. Go to 1111mag.com and join the Mothering Movement course.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and I want to give out a number of times so people can go and look and educate, and it's realimmunity.org. Again, realimmunity.org. And how are your kids doing now? You know, as the kids get older, and then they make their own choices. Sometimes they go down a path that may not be good, but what I'm thinking is the choices they make to continue. Like I want to say that my girls, I have 3 with and 8 grandchildren, and they are very much into nutrition and watching as best they can for what the kids are eating, putting in, and I'm over here, you know, suggesting different things. But anyway, bottom line is, I'm lucky because my girls have seen the advantages of good food and such. How are your kids doing? Did they grow up and they're following or going in different directions?
Yeah, for the most part, they've taken on, you know, the same philosophy for the most part. Occasionally, they'll venture into that conventional medical world and then become highly frustrated and come back to me asking for some solutions. So, you know, they have to learn it themselves. It's a matter of trial and error. So,
yeah, you're a very good point. They have to. And then they may choose a different path, and you honor and not judge because they're finding their own way, just like we're finding our own way, period, just in our own journey of life.
Yeah, exactly. And you hope for the best for your kids. But I can remember when my boys were little saying, you can have any job you want, you can marry anybody you want, you can live anywhere that you want, but and then I would get my teaching in there. You have to do this, and this. And when they're little, before they get in that contradictory age. And they stop, and you let them be contradictory, but then it comes back to them. Their subconscious floats to the surface, and they remember what they were taught.
Right. They do remember, and sometimes they do go off into a different direction, but then, you know, from their own experience with their own children, they'll see, oh, wait a minute, now I know that this could be a better option. And that's the whole thing, is having options. And I think that, you know, as we go along, hopefully in my lifetime, more MDs will become functional medicine doctors, more people, you know, nurse practitioners, all of that will be going in a direction to heal mind, look at the whole, like Dr. Bernie said, mind, body, spirit, to look at the whole person, not just, okay, here's a quick fix.
Right.
But you have, like on your end, you're probably spending time to not only educate, but to educate, saying, like with herbs, it takes time. It's a slower process. And some people, you know, even in our family, some of our extended family, they need to have the quick fix. And I understand that, because when you're in pain, the quick fix may be an answer at that moment. So anyway,
and I have no bias. Yeah, I have no bias against that, because I have patients that are on medications. They come to me, or they've had to do something to suppress a symptom, and you know, I make no judgment about that. Everybody has their own path, and you know, eventually they make their choices. So that's totally fine.
Yes. So now in these last minutes that we have, what would you like to share for the listeners? What is something that we haven't discussed, or something that's important to convey?
Oh, I'd like to share a little bit about my films. The Real Immunity series, they're 3 feature-length films, and I made them with the intent of teaching and supporting, because I had so many parents that I noticed this new generation of parents were very dependent on advice from conventional medical doctors, and they had a lot of fear. And, you know, fear is not something you want to raise your children with. It's the opposite of love. So I noticed how they were running to the hospital with a slight fever or, looking towards someone else to tell them how their children were. And I wanted them to come back to their intuition, transcend fear, recognize what real immunity is. And so I made these films by gathering different professionals, immunologists, medical doctors, so they could talk about what childhood diseases, what role was played by childhood diseases, and what it means to have a temperature, and why it's a good thing, and how does the virus work in the body, and also information about homeoprophylaxis, parents who had used it, countries who had used it. I went to the Netherlands and I interviewed European doctors. I interviewed Indian doctors. All of this so that parents could get a bird's eye view of what is real immunity. And it turned into 3 feature-length films. And these films, the first episode of film number 1 is free on the realimmunity.org site. So that can be accessed free of charge, and then the entirety of the 3 films can be streamed through Vimeo on the site or purchased in DVD format. So, I just really want to educate. That's been my main goal and purpose. And if those films can educate parents, that's my desire, as well as there are free classes. Anybody who signs up for the newsletter has access to some classes, to pieces of video, to white papers, tons and tons of information. So I would just encourage people to go ahead and sign up for the newsletter, and then they can see all the things that are available to them.
Wow. I didn't know that you had all. You have done your work, and so I thank you for your tireless work and what you're doing to heal the human race and educate them. Education first and then the healing, or simultaneously, whatever. But you have, it sounds like you've dedicated your life to this work and enlightening people on the options. Wow, thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. It's my passion. It's really the reason I'm here. So I feel very strongly about that.
Mm. So are you traveling now, now that things are opening up? Or is everything through your... Go right ahead.
I haven't this year. Prior to the pandemic, I was flying all over the place. But what's kind of happened is that many of these people holding conferences have found they can do it more economically,
right,
doing it online. So right. I've already been in a couple online. I have another one scheduled that's coming up, and they're doing these online seminars, which are much more cost effective for them. And I think there's a quality missing, that human contact quality, because there's nothing like being at a conference and meeting people face to face. So I miss that a lot. But they're able to get the information farther and wider, maybe doing it online. So we'll see. We'll see how things morph and change and continue to transform. But I feel like it's all towards the goal of bringing the consciousness of humanity up. And it's happening. It's people are re-examining their lives and bringing their consciousness up to a more aware place, and that's really the goal.
Right. Now, when you go to these different areas, do you get to go to more impoverished or more rural areas where people may not even have the opportunity to not only know this information, but to obtain it?
Well, most conferences are held at a hub, some area that's usually metropolitan, near an airport. So I would say, not necessarily when I go speak at a conference. It's been mostly metropolitan areas in different cities, different countries.
Sure. Which the beauty of like doing the Zoom or some facsimile is that people that could never attend these conferences are together from different countries. So That's a beautiful thing. I look for like a mix, a balance, because that's what life is, balancing a mix of the online version and some face-to-face, so you can have that human connection, because it's taken us, I mean, remember with the cell phones and the texting, you lost that piece. Some people are bringing back writing letters in the mail so that it's more of a personal touch. So I think we might come around full circle. Who's to say?
Right.
With the communication.
Interesting thought.
Yes. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you again, Cilla. I'm so glad that we've heard about you, and I want to make sure that this show gets heard again and again for people to hear. And so for the listeners, share it. If you listen to it again, because you always learn something new. It's like reading a book more than once. And share it with your friends, your family, relatives, and it's something to just take in and see if it's for you, and realize that you have options, that an energy works with the body. Everything is energy. The trees, everything, the chair, everything is energy, and we are nature. So it works with all of us together in unity consciousness to elevate not only our health but the human race and the planet. So we have a planet by the time we're through here. But anyway, that's another show. So thank you, Cilla, and everyone. Until the next time we come together, au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.